So hello, Gene.
Hi.
We are here at Entropy and Sons, and you're going to talk us through the product, which we've seen it before, but you've got some new features, right?
Yeah, that's right. Welcome, first of all. My name is Gene, here with Entropy and Sons at Namm 2025. And you guys have done a couple of videos of our synth, but I believe the last time you guys were here, it wasn't out yet. So the major new development is that the synth is actually out and has been released for the past 6 months or so. For those of you that don't know, this is our synth right here. It's called the Recursion Studio. It's a standalone device. You don't need a laptop. You don't need anything else. Everything that's plugged into it is just an accessory that kind of shows that it's just generally interoperable with like a million different types of things. Has a bunch of CV jacks on the back, so you can hook it up to your rack gear. You can plug MIDI into it. You can run audio directly into it as well. And yeah, it's not loop-based or clip-based, it's generative, so it's making all of the visuals you see completely dynamic and on the fly. So it's a modular instrument under the hood, so there's a bunch of processing modules that kind of combine together and create the visuals that you see, and you have like a crazy degree of control over what's going on with it. One of the major things that we want people to know about the synth is that it has Wi-Fi. So you know when you get like a nice piece of software, you get releases and updates and bug fixes kind of out of the box, like you at least expect to for like a couple of years. And that's the kind of model we are trying to bring to hardware. And we think we've successfully done that. So you plug in the Wi-Fi dongle and you hit update. You don't have to flash like firmware chips or anything like that. It's like very trivial to update the synth. And we released it, the synth, about 6 months ago now. And it's been in full-time development ever since then. We fixed a lot of bugs. We've added user features and things like that. But we've also added 3 brand new instruments. We have added a 3D oscilloscope, which I'll show you guys in a second. We've added a 2D oscilloscope, and we've added another instrument which we kind of envision as being the place you go where you want to kind of create things in a more freeform manner. But yeah, and we're also like putting a lot of emphasis on more I/O reactivity. So like right now we see a video reactive patch. And a lot of these patches were actually created on a live stream that we've been doing with regular frequency, and then they get uploaded to the user synths when they update the synth. So I'm just loading a new patch right here, and now. So we've been playing around with a lot of the video reactivity features recently. But there are 5 instruments on the synth. There's one which is a video feedback simulation, and let me turn off this library filter right now, because I was just on video reactive patches. But here, let me just show you a couple of the patches for the video feedback simulation synth. So it's all very interactive. You can hook audio into it. You can map all of the controls up to MIDI controls, up to CV and all kinds of stuff like that. And yeah, in my opinion, the major selling point of the synth, besides its just general power, is just how like cool and crisp it looks. It's rendering at 1080p. I think it's one of the few HD synths out there. And it's very interactive. This instrument has like 100-some parameters you can control in various ways, and it just does crazy psychedelic visuals. It's definitely designed for use at like concerts or home studios or venues or things like that. But we definitely envision it being in general like a production quality device.
So you've got a lot of stuff hooked up. Do you want to just talk us through what you've actually got hooked up here?
Yeah, so in terms of I/O, it has a wide variety of things. On the back, we have 8 CV jacks. They're all 0 to 10 volt.
And that's inputs, yeah?
Those are inputs.
Yeah.
We don't do output with CV or anything like that. Yeah. There is a audio in right here. My phone's hooked up to it. We can play around with that in a minute. But that takes live audio feeds and does analysis of them. It does frequency analysis and kind of maps the bands into various things. It can detect the BPM of the audio that's coming in and use that to synchronize LFOs. So there's like a whole LFO system on board, so you don't actually need to control it with external LFOs. And you can synchronize the rates up with what's coming in with the audio. There's 5-pin MIDI in right here, in and out, for hooking up with old school style synths. There's a power input right here. Video out, audio out, so you don't even need to split your audio. And then over here, we have a bunch of USB ports, and we use that for video in and MIDI controls and stuff like that. We have an LCD panel. Right now, we're in the library view, which kind of lets you like tag and filter things. You can just tap on a patch right here and load it, and then we have a whole new patch right here. And it comes with a bunch of default macros for each patch that are saved, and a bunch of default LFOs. and just out of the box, you can just go and like start like playing stuff. So you like one of the major appeals in my mind of this synth is that it's both incredibly powerful if you want to get into that, but it also comes with 1,000 presets, and you can literally just plug in music, plug in like a MIDI controller, plug in some CV, and like have reactive, like high quality visuals just completely out of the box. So this instrument that we've been on recently is the Fractal instrument. It's a simulation of video feedback. That one was looking for audio, but yeah, it does stuff like this. It's out of the box. It's one of the presets.
So, Gene, you were talking about some of the new oscilloscope models that you've got, right?
Yeah, so we have 2 new oscilloscopes on here. One is this oscilloscope you're seeing right now, which is a 3D oscilloscope. So you basically give it X, Y, and Z waveforms, and it renders a waveform in 3-dimensional space. That's what's happening right now. Right now it's using the internal oscillators to control what's going on. We have our logo in the lower right, and it's got like some feedback going on, which is where you get all this other stuff. And it's hooked into our color processing network too, so you get access to a whole bunch of effects. This is a new one we made on the stream the other day, which I think looks kind of awesome. So it's just graphing like a really long like waveform through space, like kind of rapidly, and it's rotating the camera around. I think there's another variation on that. Yeah, this is that with just a different color palette. This one right here is actually, it's kind of chugging right there. This one is actually rendering the using one of the CV inputs as actually one of the dimensions on the waveform. But you have access to a bunch of controls and stuff in here. It starts off kind of default, just like this. This is the init patch for the instrument. So you can kind of see there's like a little axis, you can make it rotate. This is pretty basic. Then you can step it up a little bit and it starts looking like the Windows pipe screensaver, but then, yeah, then you start adding like feedback and all kinds of crazy effects, and you start getting like this kind of stuff, which I think looks awesome. So we also have another oscilloscope, which is this thing right here. And this is explicitly designed as like a conventional CRT simulation. It's what you probably have in mind when you think oscilloscope. So I have it hooked up to the first 2 channels on here, and I'm just controlling the oscillators right here. So just basic oscilloscope. It's probably what you'd expect, but you also have access to all the effects and everything that we have in the synth. So it's not just an oscilloscope, it's an oscilloscope plus our effect network. So, and some of these patches right here are starting to use some of the effects, or starting to stylize the oscilloscope a little bit differently. And then there's like a polar mode too.
So where can people get it? Is it direct from you?
So we are selling directly on our website. We are now, if you are in the LA area and you want to actually see it in person, we are available at Perfect Circuit and Noisebug. I think just last week we were finally listed in Schneider's, so for people in the EU, you can definitely check it out right there. There's one more instrument that we actually added that was recently added as well, and I'll show you guys that one real quick too. This one is definitely really interesting. We designed it kind of as like, so most of our instruments are kind of like complex and have some predefined structure that we kind of create, and this one is more freeform. So we actually have kind of focused on like video processing and just creating stuff from scratch. So you can create stuff like this right here. This is just made with like an image that we put in here, just added some like various textures and stuff onto here. I think, there we go. This is just a video effect processing patch right here, which is made with the new instrument. We've got this like tunnel right here that we added. Everybody keeps asking for tunnels, so we added this kind of stuff. And this is also reactive to music, and it's got some feedback and stuff like that. So this is just kind of demonstrating that we're still constantly adding like new content to the synth, and it's still growing. It's got like 300 processing modules on it, and I think like 70 of them have come since we actually launched the synth. So yeah, we definitely really want to emphasize that it has Wi-Fi and is like very trivial to update, and it's constantly trying to just grow into something new and more than what it originally like kind of came out as. But yeah, so it's been in development for some number of years. It's been out for about 6 months. You can go to our website. There are a couple of stores that it's available in. And it's also on sale until, I think, Monday the 27th or 28th, whichever day Monday is, at midnight. The code is Namm 2025, and it's $200 off. So now would be a great time to buy if you're actually interested. So
brilliant, Gene.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, my pleasure.